Yes, we did it. Yes.
Yeah.
How many bodybuilders does it take to figure out technology?
1.5.
One and All right. I dig it. How you doing, man?
It's all right. I just got my eyes dilated, so like this was very fun getting all this work together when like I can't read.
Oh,
So
okay. You said you got your eyes dilated. What does that mean?
when you get an eye exam, so I'm in the military, so like they have me do it every year,
Yeah.
and I went in last time to get a vision appointment to check to see if your vision changes at all.
Yeah.
But what they'll do is they put these drops to dilate your pupils so they get bigger,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then they take like this like I don't know, magnifying lens, and then they blast a light through it to see in the back of your eye to check for uh, any abnormalities or cancers or things like that.
Got it.
Yeah, so my pupils are like this big, and everything's blurry and light hurts. So, but
What's moving your head?
do what?
What's moving behind your head?
That is is one of my cats.
Oh, he is knocked out, or she.
Yeah, he don't mind.
Hi, kitty. Like his head is just burnt. I was like, what the hell is moving back there?
Yeah, he's got his head real dug in there. I've never seen him sleep like that. Uh, my wife has 3 cats, so now I have 3 cats.
How do you have 3 cats? That's all right. It's cute. He's cute.
I don't mind them. Some people in the videos comment saying they enjoy them. Sometimes they say it's distracting. So I guess we'll find out.
I enjoy animals, so this is great. This is perfect.
Great. So Florida, how's Florida doing now?
Florida's great. Weather's nice. It was a little cold last week, and when I say cold, I don't mean like, oh no, it's 60 degrees. Like it was like in the 30s and 40s.
Oh
So
Lord.
yeah, it was pretty brisk for like 4 or 5 days, and then it warmed back up again. So now we're back into the high 60s, low 70s. It's nice.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and the whole universe is moving all of its events to Florida. So
That was perfect for you being in Tampa. Yeah.
hey, listen, Operation Move the entire IFBB to Tampa, success. Even though I had nothing to do with it, but that's okay. I felt like the universe was trying to move in my favor, so I'll take it.
And to be honest, like I'm still getting into bodybuilding journalism. Is I'm still pretty new to it,
Yeah,
but I really think that 2020 was your breakout year.
thank you. Yes, I would I would agree. Even because 2018 was when I had two second place finishes at the Tampa Pro and the Legion Sports
Yep.
Fest.
Yep.
But even then, I'll be honest, I felt like I got lucky in terms of the lineups where I didn't have to really deal with any. I didn't have to. I don't want to say I didn't have to deal with any. I didn't have to deal with many like really big name guys like I did this year. So even though I got a third and a fifth this year as opposed to 2 seconds, I definitely agree with you. I felt like this was the year for me.
Definitely. Yeah, because I noticed that I was going through your bio, kind of. I've loved your physique for a while now. I've been like commenting on your Instagram a lot,
Yes.
but I was looking at your 2018. I'm like, okay, this is where he's really breaking out. 2016 you turn a pro at the Nationals in the lightweight, and then 2019. No disrespect, I thought there was a little bit of a backpedal with that.
Oh
Was it
yeah.
12th at Tampa?
It was eighth at Chicago Pro and then 12th at Tampa.
Yeah.
4 or 5 weeks later. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was looking. I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to share the screen. You're skipping all my early questions and going right into the juicy deets, and that works out. I want to see how I can figure out how to share my screen as we're just figuring everything out now.
There we
But
go.
can you see this
Yeah,
folder?
I can see it.
Can you see
Wow,
the?
whole breakdown. I like this. This is cool.
Yeah. Can you see the photos now?
If you have to open it, but yeah, I can see the whole list.
Okay, so let me see. Screen share, switch. For the love of God, I hope I can figure out how to edit this out. Or I'll just keep it like full. Now can you
No,
see
let's
him?
say I don't think you need to edit it out. It's endearing.
Yeah, right. It's just genuine. Now you can see him,
Yeah,
right?
it's genuine. It's part of the experience. But yes, now it's like big screened, and now I can see them. Yeah.
Okay. So this is 2016 at the Nationals,
Yep. So
and then these are your 2018
yep.
and then 2019.
Yes.
So I did some comparisons, and I'm gonna do an athlete spotlight episode for you, but
Okay.
I don't see much of a difference. I mean, I think you look very streamlined. I think the hamstrings look very comparable.
Yep.
I was just trying to like, in the eyes of the judges, or even in your opinion, was it
Mhm.
more of the lineup that set you back, or was it something that you did or didn't do?
Okay. So yeah, I don't mind digging into this a little bit. Okay. So what we're looking at right now, I believe that's 2018, right?
Yeah, 2018 Tampa.
Okay. So um that year so first of all, I had just moved to Florida that year, February, March.
Okay.
Um, and I was kind of playing catch up. I had moved to Florida. I started a new job. I pretty much left everything I knew. I was completely by myself. So there was a very big adjustment period for me in terms of finding a gym, getting my routine in, getting settled into where I was living, adjusting to the job, which I ended up not enjoying very much at all. I really didn't enjoy my experience in Miami much in terms of living there. That contributed a lot to you know how it is when your stress is really high and you're just unhappy. It eventually, especially when you're trying to get to low levels of body fat, it does reflect in your physique. Um, so once I met Anastasia and we got together, I ended up moving to Tampa, and everything just kind of fell in line. That's
Yep.
when my physique started to really come alive, come to life again. So she brought a lot of peace to my life, and it was definitively reflected in my physique. Not to mention, I was able to really nail down my routine again, and that really helped a lot. So it pretty much came down to the wire in terms of me being ready, conditioning wise, and I still think we could have pulled a little bit more off of me, but I think given how things went for the prep, we got as close to we got as close to I'm going to use the word perfect for lack of better words as we could have. And I was very happy. That at the time that was my best look, in my opinion. You know, um, considering all of my other showings. Um, and then you showed the 2019 Tampa Pro right after that, correct?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So what happened there was so I was lighter at this show than I was at that show. Yes.
Okay.
So what you'll see is the way I looked at the 2019 Tampa Pro was kind of a direct result of how I looked at the 2019 Chicago. So basically, what happened was there were more diuretics used than were necessary, and we sucked me down more than we really needed to. Um, I was pretty much ready at about somewhere between 201 and 203 pounds. I was ready,
Okay.
and um, my coach at the time, without I don't want to, start.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't want to make people think I'm throwing shade or whatever,
Yep.
but
No, I get it. Yep.
um, you know, he wanted to use diuretics and stuff, and I did it for Chicago. I came in stupid flat. Um, like my back completely disappeared. I couldn't even feel it when I was on stage. Um,
Yeah, that was the first show I ever saw you compete when I
yeah,
first got into bodybuilding. And yep, I can remember that.
yep, and like my back, in my opinion, probably would not have even won an amateur show the way it looked.
Mm.
Um, so then we tried to correct it by pushing food a little bit harder going into Tampa, which helped. As you can see, you know, the muscle is a little bit more pushed against the skin and all of that. But I still wasn't full. I was still pretty flat and sucked down, in
Yeah.
my opinion. And I can really see it in this shot, because normally my thighs touch, and they're not here. And I still couldn't feel my back the way I normally do, but it was better than Chicago. And again, another issue of like there's a huge taper there.
Oh yeah.
Exists here.
Yep.
Like you can see the difference. So, and my thighs touching. So
yes.
Those are just two little markers that you can pay attention to, and I just couldn't bounce back from being overly sucked down. But I do think the conditioning is a little bit better. But overall, I was more happy with the 2018 package than I was the 2019. But that's pretty much what happened. It was over diuretic use, and obviously, you know, you have a coach, you're going to do exactly what they tell you to do, no matter what.
Yep.
And we just weren't able to bring me back to life. So that's the summary of what happened, and that's why my physique seemed to digress, and obviously my placings reflected that.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, now that you point out the leg separation there, like I can definitely see a huge difference. Like you said, with being sucked down. With 2020, you know, what was with your mindset of 2019 and potentially not placing as well as you wanted to compared to say 2018? What was your mindset going into that off season? You know, you're in a new city. You have you just proposed, so it would still be girlfriend at the time.
Yep.
Back, and we'll get to that.
Yes.
With all those new changes for the good or potentially for the worse, or you know, what was your mindset? What was your battle strategy going into 2020? And were you getting a new coach? Because it sounds like that might be where you're going.
Yes. So, couple things. I'll touch on the coach thing first. So that's a shorter story. So basically, I made the decision to move on from who I was working with and try to find somebody new. I made that decision in December of 2019. So what I did was I made like a little interview process. I made a list of questions, and I had a list of people that I was going to quote unquote interview to try and see who I was going to work with. The questions were mainly geared towards the X's and O's of how they approach things, which I did care about, but it was not my main focus. My main focus was I wanted to see who was going to be excited to work with me, who was going to be like, Derik wants me to coach him. Hell yeah,
definitely.
Like, let's go, let's do this, let's make it happen. So what I was looking for was the tone of the conversation, the energy coming from them, their response times when I did ask questions, or you know, during the conversation or what have you. So I was looking for between the lines details. Those were what was really influencing my decision, not really the X's and O's. Because I know the X's and O's pretty well. Like I could coach myself if I want to. Now that being said, I firmly believe that no matter how much you know, only a fool thinks that they can't learn anything new from somebody else.
Definitely.
So having a coach, in my opinion, is absolutely paramount, if for no other reason, that alone. But there was really only one person that fit all the criteria that I was looking for. Knew what he was doing, knew how to prep people, knew how to get people in shape, mainly striated glutes, which no one had been able to do with me prior. And I do think it's a combination of knowing the right training approach or being told the right training approach. And, you know, as a colored guy, we tend to have thicker skin. So
Sure.
Getting striated glutes is usually a challenge for us. And it usually through the dieting process of going down into show shape and coming back up into off season and doing that repeatedly, your skin tends to thin out over time. So eventually you do have striated glutes. A perfect example of that is Akeem Williams.
Definitely. Yeah.
So if you go back to his early pro years, that was one of the knocks that he had on him, was just the thick skin, not looking as dry and conditioned because of that. And he comes in last year and this year and completely blows his previous physiques away. I think everything just finally caught up and everything meshed in the right way. So now he's peeled, including his glutes, despite the thick skin thing.
Yep.
So that's what 2020 was for me as well. I think it was a culmination of those of that process coming together, getting a new coach, which is Will Castillo. His Instagram is Prep by Will. And now coming back to answering your original question, my mental approach was I need to be the strongest. Period. And I need to be the strongest 212 bodybuilder, if not pound for pound the strongest guy in the IFBB. So like I would find people who were stupid strong, like an Akeem, or like I don't know if you follow Jordan Peters.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So I follow those guys and I try to do what they do. Whatever weight I see them move, obviously with perfect form and rep execution, I try to do the same exact thing. So even if I fall short, I'm still going to be bigger and stronger than I was prior. And if you notice, I pick guys who outweigh me by 40, 50, 60 pounds and try to match their lifts. So even if I fall short, I'm still going to be bigger and stronger than I was prior.
That's perfect.
It's kind of like I read this book where I think it's called the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone.
Yep.
So he says, whatever goal you have, multiply it by 10. For example, if your goal is to make $50,000 a year in your business, you should aim for $500,000 a year in your business. Because if you fall short of 500 grand, you're going to be in a way better position than you were if you fell short of 50 grand.
Yep.
That was my approach to training. And that led me into 2020. And here we are.
Okay.
That's
good. No, it's good. I don't think people are going to click on these videos because they want to listen to me. It's for you guys. It's to see the athlete spotlights. This channel is all about the athletes. I'm just here facilitating.
Okay, that's fair. I still think people want to. I think the interviewer still has, like, imagine if it was just me just talking, just rattling off answers to these questions. I don't think it would be the same.
Yeah. I think I have my place for sure.
Yes,
but
very, very important.
Thanks. So let's see. Nationals. What? I think it said. I think I got a tab here. 2014 was your first NPC show.
My very first competition ever was the NPC Powerhouse Classic in New Haven, Connecticut, April of 2014. Yes.
Okay, so that was your very first show. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So right into the NPC.
Yep. I had never bodybuilded before. I had been weight training since I was 13. I had been encouraged by a girl that I was dating at the time. She was kind of like, you're going to the gym all the time. You're doing all this stuff. Like, you're constantly lifting. You're organizing your meals, blah, 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 doing cardio. What's the next step? What's the next thing? Why are you doing it? And it made me think. I was like, I don't know. Like, what is the next step? And then one of my buddies at the time introduced me to this bodybuilding gym, which was Montanari Powerhouse in New Haven, Connecticut. It's Evan Centopani's home gym.
Okay.
And, I walked in to go check it out, and ironically enough, the first person I see is Evan. When I walked through the door, he happened to be walking towards me to talk to one of the owners at the front desk. And I had never seen anybody that huge in person, ever. He was wearing like a XXX hoodie, and I could see his arm vascularity through the hoodie, or the sweatshirt, I should say. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And I don't know if it was like the cosmos or the universe or God like trying to speak to me in that moment. But when I walked into that gym, every single person that I saw training there was huge. Monsters, gorillas, everywhere. And like, it was a like sensory overload. I was overwhelmed, but I was like, this is what I've been looking for. This is it. This is the next step. I'm the small fish again. Cause I was working out like a health club. I was like 100. I was like $180. I was the guy. Like I was the strong guy in the gym. So I was the big fish in a small pond. So I was able to be the small fish in a big pond. And that kind of started my investigating of what this was all about. And then I hired the coach that they had. There was a guy who paid for space in the gym. So if anyone came in and inquired about contest prep, the gym was contracted to recommend this guy. So I signed up, told him what I wanted to do, and he was like, "Oh, there's a show in 6 weeks or 5 weeks, whatever. Let's do that." And I was like, "Okay." I had no clue. I didn't know that anything about a proper bodybuilding prep or any of that shit. I had no idea. So I just went with his recommendation and did it. And
Okay.
then, yeah.
And then the rest is current history. As I mean, like I said in the beginning, 2020 I think was one of your biggest years, and it's just going there from 2021 is going to be even better, I think. Even with like so many competitors that are going to be returning to the stage, I still think you have a great chance of doing well. Your lines, your taper is, I don't want to say unmatched, but I mean it's there. Like I said, you and Jason Lowe are probably my favorite physiques in the 212 right now.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Yeah, big fan.
I don't know.
That's why you're like one of my first interviews on this channel.
Sean's pretty crazy. He looked insane at the Olympia. Like seeing him in person, I was blown away. Him and Kamal, like,
yeah.
I don't mean to jump ahead, but like when I was when they were doing the call outs and they did the first call out and I was standing on the side for like a minute or two, I stopped being a competitor.
Yeah.
And I was a fan and I was just watching and I was like, holy shit, like these guys look fucking incredible. This is really cool. I get to watch it from right here. And then I came back and I'm, back in competitor mode or whatever. But so I say all that to say I appreciate the compliment. That really means a lot. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think a great comparison would be how Fuad Abiad, if you watch his podcast, I'm sure you
watch all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Their whole like elite tier and then the rest of the guys.
Tier and second tier. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like to talk about, the big Ramis or the Kamals because everyone talks about those guys. That's kind of where my butter is where like I like to really shine a light, or I keep tagging my own stuff, but like doing athlete spotlights for people that might not know who you are, and it's a real crime.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate what you're doing. And you keep grinding at it the same way we do at bodybuilding, and it has no choice but to grow.
Yeah. It's my channel's quadrupled in the last 3 months, I think. With the Olympia, it just exploded.
I saw that. Yeah. I've really been paying attention to how your channel has grown too. So that's awesome. I do want to point out, since we were talking about the first show I did, that
yeah.
I just wanted to, last point on that was that I placed last in that show. So for anyone watching, I placed dead last in that show, and I continued to bodybuild because the way I saw it was, okay, I placed last, but I'm looking at the pictures. I don't look like a complete schmuck. At least I kind of look like I belong, or like, fit in, or would be a better term. Let me just see where this goes. That was it. That was my mindset. How far can I take this? What is the best version of me? Because I don't know. Let's go. Let's find out. And that decision led to where we are today.
Yeah.
So
I can definitely relate with that. I mean, I compete in like smaller natural organizations right now, but I have goals of NPC in 2021. But my first show, I think I didn't even place. Like they didn't place outside the top 6. So I'm like, okay, I think I look better than that guy. So I at least I'm not last. That's pretty much what it went to.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
away and figure out where your physique and your genetics and your work ethic will take you. There's only one way to find out.
Just keep doing it. Yeah. I love what I do, and training is fun. But my passion is really meeting other athletes, and I mean it just makes sense that I ended up doing this because I used to do supplement reviews and that was horrible. So it's
You can walk by. Anastasia wants to walk
yeah,
by.
Anastasia can walk by. That's
Go
fine.
ahead. You're good. You're good. I don't want to be in your video. Well, now you are in the video. So you're about to get like 4,000 new followers right now. I don't need any more. Oh, okay.
She's I don't want that.
I'm all set.
Yeah.
He has more followers than I do now. It's ridiculous.
Dang. That's
I don't
how
know how it happened. Like one, no, she after she did her she did class stuff. Yeah, after you did the Ty Pope show and she won the overall in women's physique and in women's bodybuilding. It was like,
yep, yeah, that's
like,
that's
he was like
feature.
Oh no, she was like behind me by like 5,000 or 6,000 followers at the time, and now she's ahead of me by about 7,000 followers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absurd. I've never seen anything like it. But whatever.
That's exciting.
It's not about her. It's about me. Yes.
Yeah. Right. I'll interview her tomorrow.
Okay, fair.
I had a question. The 2015 New England Championship you won, but you didn't do nationals that year. Was that a national qualifier or no?
Yeah. So first of all, the New England Championships. It's one of Jay Cutler's shows. It's in Boston. That is one of my favorite shows ever. Period. Like I loved competing in that show. After I turned pro, I would before I moved to Florida, I would always go back and watch that show and watch all the young guys compete. It's one of my favorite shows ever. I had done 3 shows that year. I did the NPC East Coast Cup. I won the overall that year as a heavyweight. I weighed in at 201.
Yeah.
And for those who don't, for any viewers that don't have the weight caps memorized, heavyweight is 198 and a half to 225. And I won the overall at 201. So it just goes to show you that if you bring a quality physique, you don't need to, match the weight cap or whatever.
Yep.
So I won the overall at that show. That made me nationally qualified. Then I did the NPC Eastern USA's a few weeks later as a light heavy. That was, most people would say it's the biggest show on the East Coast in terms of amateurs, like a non-pro qualifier. There were guys who flew in from other countries to do that show.
Okay.
And I placed second as a light heavy. And then I did the New Englands, which you just brought up, and I won the light heavies there. So I had a few people recommend that I go to nationals, but I didn't feel like I was ready.
Okay, that's fair.
There were still gaps in my physique that I needed to fill in order to be more confident on stage. So I made the decision not to and forego it for another year till 2016.
Okay. That makes sense. I assume that's what you did, but I just wanted to ask for the fans.
For sure.
So let's see. You're 32. I mean, you're really coming into your own. Gonna win some big shows next year, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Weapon X, was that a nickname you had before you started the athletics? Yeah, the athletic company.
Weapon X Athletics. Before I started the company, yes. Was it given to me by anybody? Not necessarily. What people did talk about with, like you brought up earlier about my shape, aesthetics. The
yes,
X-frame,
for real, yeah.
That term, the whole X-frame thing, was used to describe me very frequently. And I'm like, I want a cool nickname, but it has to be something that like embodies me completely. So obviously I started off, I'm like, okay, it has to be something bodybuilding related, and then it has to be something that describes me on a personal level. So I don't know how familiar you are with superheroes, but
sure.
Weapon X is Wolverine from X-Men. That's his nickname.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And Wolverine's my favorite superhero. And then it encapsulates the whole X-frame thing in bodybuilding, and it just worked, and people liked it. I have clients who only call me X. They just call me X. I'm like, why? My name's Derik. But shut up. This is my
You love it.
This is my interview. Stay out of it. You get your own. Anyway. But it is cool. It is cool. So, but I don't want to make it seem like someone else gave it to me and like, you know, it evolved into this thing. It was just something that I kind of picked for myself, and people liked it. So I stuck with it. So now, like, literally my whole brand and persona is wrapped around this little nickname I gave myself.
Yeah. I'm envious because since the day I was born, you know, this is the third generation of Sanch. You know, my grandfather in the Marine Corps was Sanch, and my dad, being a sergeant, you know, he was Sanch. So obviously, in my last name so difficult to pronounce, Sanch is just what I get. So I was like, yeah, might as well just stick with it.
Isn't it Sanchagro?
Sanchagro, yeah. It's not hard. It's just intimidating. Well, you got to think like you got Private Snuffy who doesn't know anything except how to pick his nose. He sees rank on my chest and a big long last name. You know, there's going to be like, and that's pretty much how it goes like every day. So,
all right, that's fair.
Yeah. So
I keep forgetting that you're active duty. I forgot.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I pay the bills.
I feel that.
So, do what?
And how you feed your cats and give them towers to crawl on.
For real, I think like 80 pounds of litter just got delivered today. So,
oh my god,
rotten, spoiled rotten. And they have an automatic litter box.
Bring the nip.
They're great. They're just sleeping. But I know we talked 30 minutes, so I don't want to keep you too much longer.
No. I'm enjoying this.
Good. Let's see. 2021. What's your plan? Obviously, you're in the off season post Olympia, or do you not want to talk about it? You just want to surprise somebody when you show up? Because historically, you are a Tampa Pro guy. You live there.
Yeah.
Are we expecting to see you at the 2021 Tampa Pro?
Good question. Ideally, I hope not. For multiple reasons. Well, okay, so there's a lot of things that are obviously up in the air, right? So from what I understand, they moved the Arnold from March to June.
Okay.
Late
I didn't see an official date yet, but okay.
And then when's the Olympia going to be? Are they going to move it back to September? Are they going to keep it in December? Are they going to try and move it back to Vegas? Are they going to keep it in Orlando? Obviously, favorable for me would be Orlando. It doesn't matter either way. But for them, you know, they already have something established in Orlando. It's not like they would have to move the event back to Vegas.
And it looked so good. It looked so good.
It was awesome. The stage production was phenomenal. I'm not being biased because it was the one that I was in. But, like it was when I walked into the finals venue, I was like, oh shit, this looks cool. Hell yeah, let's go. So those things definitely determine a lot. I will say this: if I don't, let's assume, right? Actually, you know what? Yeah. Let's assume that the Tampa Pro, because Tampa Pro is usually the last qualifier before the Olympia in September. So let's just assume that. I hope I don't have to do the Tampa Pro. So that will give you a clue as to what my potential plan is. My plan is to get the qualification out of the way.
Definitely.
Have a little bit of another break, where I can actually let my weight come up a little bit more, and then go into the Olympia completely fresh. Now, if they keep the Olympia in December, that's like Christmas. That'd be like Christmas for me. And honestly, I think all the other athletes will feel the same way, because otherwise we're gonna have a short ass. Like anyone who didn't make top 5 is gonna have a really short ass off season.
Yeah.
And that's from a health standpoint. So in the best interest of the athletes, it would be better if they tried to keep it in December.
That makes sense. I like that. That's a good answer. Okay, so we
especially if they're gonna have the Arnold in June. Like, you don't want to have the Arnold and then the Olympia like piggybacking off of it, because the Olympia is the first show of the year.
Yeah. And it leaves no space for those other Arnolds, the other Arnold Classics to go afterwards. We don't have the European Grand Prix tour anymore, but we still have that Arnold Classic tour. So,
Right. Exactly.
and that's just not like, I've been trying to study older bodybuilding, and like it's interesting to see how the Grand Prix disappeared. That's another video.
I don't know why. Because they had the German Grand Prix, they had the British Grand Prix. Obviously, there was.
I think they still have the Swedish Grand Prix, or the Finland. They had one last year. Last year.
Finland. I don't remember if they had one in Finland. All I remember
maybe it's an NPC show, but I saw that it was a Grand Prix.
Okay. Yeah, I wish they would bring some of that stuff back. That'd be really cool. To have a lot of the athletes being able to travel and, not only do these shows, but be able to interact with the different people that are there, different cultures. You can walk by again.
Second feature. That's an extra 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, there's another 2,000 followers.
I think we saw some veins in that tricep.
Did we see any veins in the tricep, Anastasia?
I think that's an extra 500.
She is full blown off season right
now.
So that's my plan, to get it out of the way, have another break, and then go into the Olympia fresh. Because I was not fresh at the Olympia a few weeks ago. I had been dieting since January 16th. January 15th or 16th is when I started dieting for shows. And really the only breaks in my diet that I had, the only break that I had was after the New York Pro in September. I had 3 weeks off to kind of eat more food, have a few cheats. And then I was right back on the diet, getting ready for the Olympia.
Wow.
So that's a long time. I was beat up.
So no time to give the body some rest, let the liver rest, nothing.
No, nothing.
Dang.
The time from New York to the Olympia was by far the hardest prep I've ever done. Easily the hardest. And I've done some really hard preps. Like, up until that point, my nationals prep in 2016 was the hardest prep I had ever done. Okay. This prep was the hardest, easily.
Wow.
Not necessarily. I didn't really have any outside factors that got in the way. I will say that because we own the gym and we both personal train and coach people, we do work a lot. However, I think we are blessed enough to be as close to a true bodybuilding lifestyle as we could possibly be. I have a little bit more time than she does because a lot of her clients are in person and a lot of mine are online. So I have a little more time on my hands than she does. But either way, we still are in a very fortunate situation. However, from a training and from a cardio standpoint, I was doing, for the last month and a half of my prep, I was doing 2+ hours of cardio a day. There were days I was doing 2 hours and 15 minutes. There were times when I was doing 2 hours and 30 minutes. And then I had like some really angry days where I was just mad at my physique and the fact that I was doing so much cardio and things weren't happening as fast as I wanted to. And I had some 3-hour days.
Yeah.
So I had never done that much cardio before. So, but it was worth every single second when I found out I got 8th place, or when I should say when I found out that I made top 10 in my first Olympia. Like, oh shit!
Yeah. When I saw that, like, I can't remember if I cried a couple times during Olympia, but when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, like, you and Jason's placings were very excited for me. So
thank you. My crying moment was backstage at finals. We're all getting our stuff together. We're sitting down, and one of the expediters comes around and goes, "Hey, 212 guys, we're gonna announce everybody that made the top 10. If you hear your number, you stay. You're competing, and if you don't hear your number, you're done. You can go home." And I mean, I had already known from prejudging that I made top 10, but like to hear it, to hear my number and my name and say you're top 10 at the Olympia, like I had to it was like waterfalls, like boo-boo crying. Like I had to like walk away.
Yeah.
At one point, going to the corner by myself. Um, that was cool, and I think the thing that made me a little bit more emotional about it was I'm really close with my parents, but they're both older. So my mom is 61, my dad is going to be 71 this coming year. So as from a COVID standpoint, they're in that high risk group. So they
Yes.
weren't able to come and watch me compete, which that kind of it still bothers me a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, they watched the live stream, so like they were keeping up with it. So, and they were texting me the whole time as things happened. So it was like they were there, but it wasn't the same. When I've hit big milestones in my life and various avenues, both of them have always been physically present when those milestones happen. So it kind of sucked to not have them there, but hopefully this year will be different.
Yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers X'd.
Fingers X, yeah. However that works. Yeah.
Kind of a weird way to end the interview, but what I see a huge difference from 2019 to 2020. The density in your upper body, specifically. Was there anything specific that you can mention that you implemented, or if it was just mindset? Was there anything special that was different between your 2019 and 2020 competitive season?
Two things. Well, I should say three. So one of them I already talked about already was my focus on strength, getting stronger, beating my logbook. So the last time I'll be honest, the last time I kept a logbook was my nationals prep. I for whatever reason I got lazy and got tired of writing, so I just kind of abandoned that altogether. So I started doing that again at the end of 2019, into the beginning of 2020. I started keeping a logbook again and making sure that I was beating my numbers every single week. And I was focused on all of my numbers increasing across the board. So for any of the muscle nerds listening, if you understand mechanisms of hypertrophy, mechanical tension, aka the load force put on a specific area of tissue, that would be the scientific term for strength, the number that you're moving. Obviously, this is assuming perfect rep execution. So my focus on mechanical tension solely was a big thing. Number two, the format of my training. So I used to do 3, 4, 5 working sets, really high volume.
Same. Yep.
I went in the complete opposite direction. So I only do 2 working sets.
Same. Yep.
I do a top set, which is either in the 6 to 8, 8 to 10, or 10 to 12 range. And then I'll do a back off set where I'll lower the weight anywhere from 20 to 40%. And my goal is to get more reps with that weight than I did with my top set. So if I do bench press, right, and I do 405 for, actually one of my favorite exercises is incline Smith. We'll go with that. So if I do 4 plates aside on incline Smith and I get 9 reps, I want to lower the weight to 3 plates, and my goal is to get more than 15. Right?
Yeah.
So that's how I approach it. So top set, back off set.
Yep.
For pretty much most of everything, some of the isolation movements I'll just do straight sets, but for the most part I do the top and the back off. And the third thing, my mental emotional approach to my sets. When I get under the weight, I'm not. It's gonna be weird when I say it, but I'm not in the gym anymore. I'm somewhere else. I go to a different place, and it's a very angry place. I'm not really tapping into any specific experience, or I'm not envisioning the kid in middle school who bullied me or anything like that. That stuff did happen, but
Sure.
I'm just angry. It's almost like I'm mad that there is a resistance being put in front of me, and I'm gonna move that shit out of my way no matter what. That's how I approach my sets with the weight.
Okay.
So, being able to just go into attack mode with my set instead of performing the set to get through it, and then being able to take the set to failure. Not only not being scared of going to failure, but being excited about me getting close to and at or beyond failure if I'm training with somebody.
Yeah.
I used to kind of shy away from that and get scared. Not scared, but nervous. I was the nervousness and anxiety of doing that because of the pain that would come with it. I would almost always stop short of true failure. Now I get really excited. And if I see members not going to failure, especially those who ask me questions, I get pissed. I'm like, no, you had 3 more sets. You had 3 more reps. You better go do them. And they do them. And they're like, I'm glad you made me do that. So like, those are the 3 big things that from 2019 to 2020 were the biggest differences, and that I'm carrying even more so into 2021 as I continue to try to evolve.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I love the Jordan Peterson stuff. The JP's just, I don't follow him very specifically, but I keep hearing people talking about him and his training philosophies. And since I've incorporated those 2 working sets and sometimes a back off volume set, like you said, I've noticed a lot of strength and density in my own physique. Now I'm very fat right now. I'm just starting my cut, so I had a gross off season. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm still like super novice, but I love it.
No, you know what? No, this is good. It's definitely a science to it from a mental standpoint. It's something that I've definitely struggled with, in the past in terms of overall adherence. I would come off of a prep and I would feel like I needed to experience any and all food I needed, like that I wanted. I had to have it. And sorry, I got a notification. I felt like, and I would come out of my prep and so if I had 6 meals on the day that I was supposed to eat, I would probably get 4 of them that would be like clean, maybe 5. And then that last one, suddenly I'd see some random notification on my phone for Domino's, and I'm like, shit.
Oh.
Guess I'm having pizza, and I'll just order it, and or randomly like go to McDonald's in the middle of the day because I was feeling it or whatever, or Burger King, whatever.
Yeah, that charbroil.
My interview. Anyway, this past year, so 2019 going into 2020, and now now going into 2021, I really feel like I have a really solid control over that. It's not difficult for me to adhere to the meals now. And I can have something that I want and know that I'm not going to continue to go off the rails after that. I can have that one meal, I can enjoy it for what it is, and then I can go back on plan. And I feel like it's definitely an internal battle that you have to deal with. I will say this: me and Anastasia were actually talking about this. I think it was yesterday or today, that doing well in shows definitely lights a different fire under you than prior. Because now I'm like, shit, I'm 8th in the world. There's a very real possibility that I can scale this ladder more the next year.
Yeah.
I need to keep this shit locked down. Without what? Without moon face. I gained weight in my face. Like,
oh, same. Yeah. My first year I placed like 9th at my local smaller national show, and then last year I placed 3rd in open and novice. So it was like,
oh, nice.
Who knows if it was like the lack of competition because of the pandemic. I want to think that I did enough work to place that high. But even looking at the photos afterwards, I'm like, there's so much more I could lean out. Like it just,
oh yeah,
I did not. I felt like I didn't even suffer that prep. I just slowly depleted carbs and fats over like 8 months, and then I just showed up. So this year is going to be.
Hey, I mean, if you can get through it and get in show shape without feeling like absolute dog shit, why not? Like listen, no one there is no medal that there's no suffering award that you're gonna get. The judges aren't gonna look at you and be like, oh well, yeah, you look good, but you didn't suffer as much as the guy over there, even though you look better. So we're gonna give the trophy to him. Like that's never gonna happen. So There's no honor or glory to be had. So if you can get through it without having to like feel like death, then why not? Most of us, me included, cannot do that.
Yeah.
No matter what, I feel like shit by the end of it. It doesn't matter. But it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful sport we do.
It's
Definitely has its quirkiness at times, but it's beautiful.
yeah. I'm loving it the more and more I study and learn and I've yet to meet a IFBB pro yet. I've met an NPC level heavyweight and it blew my mind on how massive he was. Even though I was taller, I'm 6'3". It just
Oh, okay.
it blew my mind. So
So you wait.
I was very excited to go to the Olympia in Las Vegas, and then it just everything started to get canceled. My Airbnb got canceled, and I was like, oh, not going.
Where do you live? Where do you live?
I live in Kansas City right now, but I'll be getting stationed in San Francisco in February.
Okay. So, but you've never been to any pro shows or anything?
No.
Huh.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. This why? I was never a huge. I wasn't like really into. Oh goodness. I wasn't really just smack it. I wasn't into it enough where I thought that I needed to go to shows. I was more like passive, and then I kept seeing so many terrible videos made by some of the biggest channels in bodybuilding journalism. I was just like, there's other desktop bodybuilding. Xavier does fantastic work.
Yeah.
I love him. I love his channel. I love his content. But there can't just be one guy. So I started just kind of looking into it, and I'm like, I think there's a spot here for me. And I hated doing supplement reviews because no one was watching them. So I switched, and I'm never looking back. I love doing all this journalism and talking to you guys, the pros. But I never went to a show. My first show was my show. I never went to a show. I don't know. So now it's like I was going to go to the Olympia was going to be my first pro show to ever go to. And I was like, I'm just going to go in crazy. I was going to have my little lanyard mic, and I was just going to try finding people and try not to drool at like how amazing these people were. I knew it was going to be awkward because I'll be like, oh my God, it's Jay Cutler.
Mr. Bodybuilder, could you please talk to me, please? That's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. It was kind of, I don't want to say it was hard for me not to fanboy. Like I had a few moments where like I wanted to, but I was like, nah, like we're on the same level. Like I can't do that. Like I couldn't bring myself to do it. Like I was backstage at finals, so I wasn't sure where I was gonna place. Like it was somewhere between 6th and 8th for sure. And top 6 got to do their posing routines. So I'm like, all right, I need to just kind of freshen up my routine. And so I'm in the mirror and I'm just practicing, hitting my shots and whatever. And then Phil Heath just stands right next to me and he starts posing. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what's going on? So like, I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay. So I hit a front double. And then he hits a front double. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So that went on for like a good like 15, 20 seconds of just like us just randomly hitting shots. And then I was like, all right, I guess I should probably go pump up. And then that was that. So that was like a moment where I was like, nah, I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna be cool.
Yep, be cool.
I'm gonna see what he does. So that was cool. That was a cool moment.
Well, you'll have to let me know privately what show you're going to plan on doing eventually, and I'll see if I can plan to come out and
I'll shoot you a DM.
Yeah. Let me know because I'm trying to plan my leave for 2021, and I want to center it around shows. I'm gonna get my little mic with the custom face on it and do all the interviews, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. All right, yeah, I'll shoot you a DM when we get off, and I'll tell you what I'm doing.
All right, sounds good. Derik, it was amazing finally talking to you. Hopefully the fans here at the Bodybuilding Network, News Network, appreciated you coming on and enjoyed this content. Look forward to the highlight videos where I'm going to break all this down and also enjoy the interview as a whole.
Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Derik, did you want to plug anything? You mentioned your gym, your apparel company, your coaching. your YouTube channel.
Yeah. All right. So all of that. If you type so YouTube. If you type in Derik Weapon X Oslan, you'll find me. My Instagram is weaponex_IFBB Pro. My the clothing and the coaching is all the same brand. It's weaponex.athletics. That's on Instagram. I also have a website, wxathletics.com. Anastasia's been in the video twice, so I'm not plugging her. She plugged herself.
I didn't even want to be in the video.
What else? I think that's it.
What's
No,
the
what?
flex
If you guys
appeal?
follow Anastasia since you saw her twice, it's at Anastasia Ryder.
No.
No, she needs another 1,000 followers. So just go over there and hit that blue button, and she'll be shit.
She can throw something at you.
Yeah, she looks. Probably I'm waiting for like a dumbbell to come flying at me.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. And then what is the?
No, you need to plug your cat. You need to plug the cat.
Oh, is he still back there? Oh my
No,
God.
he's still there. I've been watching him the whole time.
Our main man Haku is still back here.
His name's
My girlfriend
Haku. I love it.
Yeah, she's really into anime. So we have
The
Pua,
cat.
Totoro, and Haku.
Wait, time out. What, Haku? You have a cat named Totoro.
Totoro. Yep.
Anastasia actually really loves all the movies that director made. What the hell is his name?
Ghibli. Studio Ghibli.
Studio Ghibli. Yeah, she loves all the Ghibli. So, we actually watched Totoro in the movie theater. Funny enough. So, and what was the third cat? Haku, Totoro,
Pua.
Pua. What's that from?
Jasmine. What's Pua from? Moana. Oh, the little pig in Moana.
Oh, okay. All right, I dig it. Points
Yeah. So, all right, man. This was probably the most fun I could have ever imagined in an interview. So
Thank you.
Very cool.
I do the best I can.
Yeah, you are exactly what I thought you were going to be. So I was very happy with that.
Yes, I'm glad that. So, all right, man. I'll shoot you a message when we get off. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate your time. I know I tried to put a time limit on, but I was having a good time too. So screw it.
Good. Yeah, me too. Same. This was great.
All right, man. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right, man. Take care, Derik.
Have a good one.
Yep,
Bye, everybody.